Welcome to Veil of Time, where we journey beyond the veil of forgotten histories to uncover the legacies of ancient civilizations. Today, we're venturing into the vast Sahara Desert, a land that seems inhospitable, but once an extraordinary civilization thrived here, the Garamantes. They were innovators who transformed the desert into a green oasis, traders who connected continents, and a power that challenged even the mighty Roman Empire. But why are they often missing from the history books? And what can we learn from their story today? Join us as we peel back the sands of time to reveal the lost civilization of the Garamantes. If you're new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Veil of Time, where we uncover the hidden stories of our past. The Garamantes were far from your typical desert nomads. By 500 BCE, they had established a thriving, sophisticated society in what is now Libya, building permanent cities and developing advanced agricultural systems, all within one of the harshest environments on Earth. As dark-skinned people of Berber descent, they were well adapted to the intense heat and unforgiving landscape of the Sahara. But how did they manage to create such a prosperous civilization in a place where survival itself seems impossible? But how did they achieve such feats? An African proverb tells us, "A tree cannot stand without its roots." The Garamantes understood this concept well. They rooted themselves in their environment, adapting to the desert's harshness and thriving where others would perish. But for all their achievements, much of what we know about them comes from outsiders like the Romans, who often portrayed them as desert raiders. Was this the full truth, or was there something more to their power that history chose to downplay? The Garamantes' key to survival was their ingenuity with water. They constructed underground irrigation systems known as fougara, tapping into hidden water reserves beneath the Sahara. These intricate systems brought life to the desert, transforming barren land into fertile fields where they cultivated crops like wheat, barley, and olives. As the saying goes, the world is like a mask dancing. If you want to see it well, you do not stand in one place. The Garamantes didn't just stand in one place, they adapted, innovated, and thrived. Their fougara systems were the lifeblood of their civilization, and through them, they built a thriving agricultural economy in the middle of a desert. But this success came with challenges. Over-reliance on the fougara systems may have eventually depleted their water resources, contributing to their decline. Could this be one reason the once thriving Garamantes disappeared? Water wasn't their only resource. The Garamantes were at the center of vital trade routes that connected North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Mediterranean. Their capital, Garama, became a bustling hub of commerce, where caravans brought gold, ivory, and salt across the desert, exchanging goods with the Mediterranean world. An African proverb tells us, "Wisdom is like fire. People take it from others." The Garamantes took wisdom from those they traded with, and they shared their own knowledge in return. Their influence spread far beyond the desert, connecting cultures and civilizations across continents. But did this power put them in direct competition with Rome and Carthage? Could it be that their portrayal as mere raiders was a way to diminish their influence and downplay their control of these crucial trade routes? So why did this prosperous civilization vanish? The Garamantes' success may have also been their undoing. As they expanded their fougara systems and relied heavily on trade, their water sources began to deplete, and shifting trade routes weakened their control. External forces, including the rise of the Roman Empire, further destabilized their position. Did their defiance of Rome play a role in their downfall? Some historians believe the Garamantes may have become too powerful for Rome's liking, and their strategic importance as middlemen in the Sahara trade routes made them a target. As we've seen time and time again in history, powerful civilizations can be wiped from the map, not just by conquest, but by a combination of factors: environmental, economic, and political. Could the Garamantes have survived if they had adapted differently? Today, the story of the Garamantes is slowly being brought back to life through archaeological discoveries. The remnants of their cities, their fougara systems, and their artifacts remind us of a civilization that mastered the desert and played a crucial role in the ancient world. As the African proverb goes, the river may dry up, but it will never forget its source. The Garamantes may have faded into history, but their legacy as innovators, traders, and desert masters continues to inspire. The Garamantes may have faded into the sands of history, but their tale isn't just one of ancient triumphs in inevitable decline. It's a story that echoes with lessons for us today. As we reflect on their achievements and eventual downfall, we find themes of adaptation, resilience, and the delicate balance between nature and human ambition. The Garamantes mastered their environment in ways that astonish modern scholars. Yet, as with many civilizations, their very success created vulnerabilities that hasten their fall. Today, as we face our own environmental challenges, water scarcity, climate change, and the pressures of a global economy, the story of the Garamantes serves as a mirror. We see in them both the potential for innovation in the face of adversity and the consequences of overexploitation of natural resources. They remind us that no civilization, no matter how advanced or resilient, is immune to the forces of nature and the shifting tides of history. But let's delve deeper into the legacy of the Garamantes. Who were they beyond the technology and trade? How did their culture, beliefs, and societal structures influence their rise and ultimate disappearance? Archaeological evidence suggests they were a people deeply connected to their land and environment. The Garamantes had a unique way of life, blending local Berber traditions with the influences of the Mediterranean and Sub-Saharan Africa. Life in Garama, their capital, was far from the image of nomadic desert warriors often depicted by Roman historians. Recent excavations reveal complex urban planning with multi-story buildings, pottery production, and a sophisticated social hierarchy. They were not merely raiders on the fringes of the Roman Empire. They were builders, creators, and innovators. Their capital, Garama, and its surrounding settlements stand as a testament to their ability to carve a prosperous existence in one of the harshest climates on Earth. And what about their relationships with their neighbors? The Garamantes were not isolated. They traded with distant lands, forming connections that reached deep into Sub-Saharan Africa and extended across the Mediterranean to Carthage and Rome. Caravans would cross the Sahara under their guidance, carrying goods like gold, slaves, and ivory. But it wasn't just material goods that were exchanged. Ideas, languages, and customs flowed along these routes, creating a rich tapestry of cultural exchange. The Garamantes were not merely desert dwellers. They were connectors of worlds. Yet, as their influence grew, so too did the challenges they faced. The Roman Empire, ever expanding, saw the Garamantes as a threat to their control over trade routes in North Africa. Though the Garamantes had periods of uneasy peace with Rome, conflicts eventually arose, and the Romans conducted several military campaigns against them. However, it wasn't Roman might alone that contributed to the Garamantes' decline. Perhaps their greatest adversary was the desert itself. As the Garamantes expanded their population and agricultural production, the very lifeblood of their civilization, the Foggara systems, began to falter. Overuse of these underground aqueducts likely led to the depletion of their water sources. With their fertile fields turning to dust and their trade routes shifting away from their control, the Garamantes slowly receded from prominence. By the 5th century CE, their cities had largely been abandoned, and the Sahara began to reclaim the land they had once transformed into an oasis. However, the disappearance of the Garamantes should not be seen as a complete vanishing act. Their descendants, the Berber people, continue to inhabit the regions around the Sahara, carrying forward the legacy of adaptation and resilience that their ancestors exemplified. The Foggara systems they built, though mostly abandoned, inspired later hydraulic innovations in other parts of the world. So, what can we learn from the rise and fall of the Garamantes? Their story is one of adaptation to an unforgiving environment, of harnessing resources and creating connections across vast distances. But it's also a cautionary tale about the limits of human control over nature. In their ingenuity, they thrived for centuries, but their reliance on finite resources and the shifting sands of trade routes ultimately led to their decline. It's a reminder that even the most innovative societies can falter when they fail to adapt to changing circumstances. As we face a rapidly changing world today, with its own environmental and societal challenges, the Garamantes' story is more relevant than ever. Their history teaches us the importance of sustainable living, of respecting the limits of our environment, and of the dangers of overexploitation. Yet it also inspires us with the reminder that human resilience and creativity can thrive even in the most inhospitable places. The sands of the Sahara may have buried much of the Garamantes' physical legacy, but their influence lingers on, like the whispering winds that sweep across the desert. Through the ruins of their cities and the remnants of their ingenious irrigation systems, we catch glimpses of a people who mastered the art of survival in a place where life seems impossible. Their story, once lost to time, is now being rediscovered, and with it, we are reminded of the fragility and resilience of all civilizations. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time with Veil of Time. If you've enjoyed unraveling the mysteries of the Garamantes, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our content. There are many more hidden histories waiting to be uncovered, and we'll be here to guide you through the forgotten tales of the past. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, the stories of the past are never truly gone, just waiting to be rediscovered.